So let's talk about the Samsung Galaxy A36. Samsung's new mid-range smartphone I've been spending time with. It's one of those devices that seems like a good deal on paper, but when you dig a little bit deeper, things get, well, interesting. These are my thoughts, and without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. First off, the design. Samsung switched up a few things here. You notice the camera layout has changed to a linear style this year. Goodbye to the floating rings from the Galaxy A35. Honestly, I kind of dig this new setup more than what we had last year, and also what we currently have on the S series. It kind of just feels cleaner. The back on this device is a glossy finish, so fingerprint is still a thing. But the biggest tell that this is a mid-range device is this plasticky feeling frame. Unlike the Galaxy A56 here, the frame doesn't feel quite as premium, which is something you'll notice if you're coming from a more expensive or premium device. You still get an IP67 rating, same as last year. Nothing really changed here aside being able to expand the storage. You no longer have a micro SD card slots. You only get a dual SIM support and also eSIM support. And that's the same as you get on the A56. The fingerprint scanner is optical and under display, and it works okay. Nothing crazy fast and definitely not as good as the ultrasonic ones on, say, the S series. Also, no headphone jack, if that really still matters to you in 2025. Stereo speakers are here though, and they sound pretty good. Coming to the display, Samsung bumped the screen size up slightly to 6.7 inches from 6.6 inches last year, and the bezels are a little slimmer, which is always a welcome upgrade. It's still Super AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, and this time we're getting up to 1900 nits of peak brightness, which is fantastic for outdoor visibility and use. The display has definitely been upgraded in terms of the brightness, but there's still no HDR support on this device, and that feels like a missed opportunity in 2025. Media consumption, though, is solid. I can say this is a great screen for YouTube, Netflix, and all that jazz. Now, performance. Samsung ditched the Exynos for Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 this year. It's a good move on paper, but real-world performance is a bit mixed. My unit here is 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, which I got for around 460,000 Naira or $300. You can get the higher 8GB and 256GB option for about 519,000 Naira or $340. Day-to-day stuff is smooth thanks to One UI 7, but during more intense gameplays, I did notice some occasional lag, maybe because I'm comparing it to the Galaxy A56. Also, like I said earlier, there's no micro SD card slot on this device, so keep that in mind when choosing your storage option. You can also check out my benchmark scores, Antutu, Geekbench, and 3D Max scores for the A36. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. One UI 7 on Android 15 is smooth, intuitive, and Samsung is promising up to 6 years of Android updates on this smartphone, which is honestly one of the strongest points for buying this device. You've got Circle to search for AI Select and all the new AI bells and whistles. Samsung is really betting on software longevity here, and it shows. Now, with that out of the way, I know you guys want really super amazing looking photos, so I'm going to take you guys to Qatar so we can get some wonderful shots and you see what it looks like taking photos with the A36. Let's head out. So let's talk about the cameras on the Samsung Galaxy A36, because if your smartphone takes bad photos, it's instantly a red flag. Now we have a triple camera setup on this device, and we have a 50-megapixel main sensor, an 8-megapixel ultra wide, and also a 5-megapixel macro lens. Now the ultra wide is an 8-megapixel sensor as opposed to the 12-megapixel sensor we have on the Galaxy A56. So when it comes to the main camera on the Samsung Galaxy A36, you get decent photos, actually good photos when you have good lighting. But other than that, the smartphone's photo begins to suffer. Dynamic range on the smartphone is on point. Color saturation is okay, not overly saturated, but it gives you good photos. Sometimes you can see HDR kick in, but processing on this smartphone to process the photos when you take them, sometimes a little bit slow. You can see it's struggling to process these images. Now, where the main camera really does suffer is in low light condition or the night situation. The night mode actually helps you clean up the noise, but you notice that in low light, the sharpness of the image is actually reduced. By the way, I'm here at the National Museum in Qatar. I'll show you guys what it looks like. This guy here. So back to myself. Like I said, the night mode is not the best, but it somehow gets the job done. It has its limitations, but it gets the job done. So speaking of the ultra wide camera, which is an 8-megapixel sensor, as opposed to 12 megapixels you get from the Galaxy A56, it has this color shifts when compared to the main camera. You also notice it's less sharp than the main camera, especially around the corners. Just know that the ultra wide is not something that will blow your mind, but it's something that's usable actually. So I wonder why smartphone manufacturers actually let or put in macro lenses. Because the 5 megapixel camera here is just to check boxes, and it's not something I would really use. I would rather use the main camera and then crop it if I want to get maybe close-ups of insects and tiny objects. When it comes to the rare videos on the smartphone, you can shoot up to 4K 30 FPS with the main camera, but you can't do 4K with the ultra wide camera. It only works at 4K 30 FPS with the main camera. The video quality is okay-ish, not the best I've seen actually. It gives you good saturation and dynamic range with good lighting. But other than that, when it comes to low light, you begin to see this camera struggle to keep up. The selfie camera on the Galaxy A36 is okay with good lighting. It's not the best I've seen. It actually struggles when you have less lighting around getting this portrait mode or separating the subject from the background. You begin to see the smartphone struggle. It's not the best out there, but it gets the job done. It's a 12 megapixel sensor. And with the processing on here, the colors are okay with good lighting. Exposure is okay. Not the same saturation level as the A56, but it does work. Bottom line, this is not going to be the most amazing camera you've ever seen. When you compare with other devices or a couple devices around the price points, I don't know. I don't think I'm really excited using the A36. I'd rather add maybe $80 and go for the Samsung Galaxy A56 if it comes to cameras. Where the Galaxy A36 shines is in the battery life. You're getting a 5000 mAh battery that now supports 45 watts fast charging, a big leap from the 25 watt we got last year. And yeah, the improvement is very noticeable. I got a little over 60% charge in 30 minutes, and a full charge took just a little over an hour. That's the kind of upgrades we love to see on these devices. Now here's the deal. While the Samsung Galaxy A36 is a solid device in many ways, it's not exactly a massive hit. For the same price or a little more, you can pick up the S23 FE, which gives you better performance and a more premium build and also a better camera system than this one. Or you could stretch a little more and go for the Galaxy A56 here, or maybe the Galaxy S24 Plus, which feels like the better rounded option. Now, it's not like the Galaxy A36 is bad, not at all. It nails the basics, has good battery life, decent cameras, and great software support. But when you look at what's available right now for around the price or slightly higher, it becomes a harder sell. So, should you buy the Galaxy A36? If you're coming from something older or you want a no-fuzz smartphone with long software support, it's not a bad choice. But if you're after a better bang for your buck, there are stronger options out there, and you can check out this review of the Galaxy A56 here. Also, YouTube thinks you'll love this video here. Check them out. I'm gonna catch you in those videos. Chloe that day.